Hey everybody, thanks for clicking the thumbnail and I hope you enjoy the video. And this video is an odds and ends video, which means it's going to have news of the day. It's going to have little stories that I don't want to make into a whole video and stuff like that. So it's a grab bag of all kinds of things. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to get right into something that actually happened today. I'm filming this November 3rd. So this was today, about less than 3 hours ago, around 3 hours ago. So the Detroit Red Wings announced that they have signed restricted free agent Anthony Mantha to a 4-year, $22.8 million contract that works out to $5.7 million AAV, which is the annual average value of that contract. And I think it's a good deal for both sides. Detroit gets themselves a really good, big, physical winger that, a lot like Josh Anderson, but definitely we know he can score. We don't have to worry about the goals coming from Anthony Mantha. He's done it already, and he can definitely keep doing that. So a good deal. I was hoping Montreal could get him, but that wasn't going to happen. It's a good deal for Mantha as well because it's only 4 years. I think I'm going to say somewhere about 24, so it'll be about 28 when it's over, and he'll sign, I'm sure by then, a much bigger contract. And it's just a good deal for both sides. So next up is a little bit of history. This is maybe one of it's a big day today for world history with the election going on in the U.S. So let's take a look at some of the history that's happened for Montreal and for the NHL. First off, November 2nd, 1937, there was a benefit game for Howie Morenz. So it's an all-star game. They didn't have an all-star game like we do now. So they had this benefit all-star game. It was held at the Montreal Forum for the late Howie Morenz. And Morenz died the previous March from an apparent heart attack while recovering in hospital from a badly broken leg. He was only 34. That's crazy. He was only 34. The NHL All-Stars beat the combined Montreal Canadiens and Montreal Maroons squad 6-5. And I believe the money went to Morenz's widow from that game. And Morenz is one of the big stars. Number 7 retired. It's a retired number. And he died very suddenly. He had a broken leg from a game. Got hit into the boards. It was a kind of an awkward hit, but it didn't look that bad. His leg was broken in a few places. And he was apparently really depressed with his life and everything in the hospital. And he died suddenly, shockingly. In 1937, I guess. And well before my time, but I mean, I know a lot of stuff about the old days for the Habs, and we learned a lot about Howie Morenz. November 3rd, 1940, so that's today. I'm filming November 3rd. This was the first game as head coach for, let me find it here, for Dick Irvin. So November 3rd, 1940, Dick Irvin coached his first game with Montreal. It was a 1-1 tie against the Boston Bruins at the Old Forum. He had replaced Pit Lepin. I don't know a lot about that guy. I've heard the name before. Irvin would go on to win 3 Stanley Cups with Montreal. And he did win one previously with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he had 693 career wins as a coach. He was a great coach. His son, Dick Irvin Jr., the color guy, I don't know if he was play-by-play or color. I think the color guy on the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast for so many years and on the Montreal Canadiens broadcast for so many years. So, great history there. Next up. October 30th, 1943, the Punchline was born. I did this again. Punchline was born. Forgot my lights. These are the special lights, I guess. So the Punchline, I should edit that out, but I don't edit, so you'll see that. I don't know if kids today know who the Punchline is, but I mean, they know who the Rocket is and all that. So the Punchline, very famous Montreal line, wasn't together like a large amount of time, but let's see. I have it right here. Okay, so Toblake, Elmer Locke. Toblake on the left, Elmer Locke in the center. The Rocket, Maurice Richard on the right. They were put together in a game versus Boston that ended in a 2-2 tie. And one season later was the season that Richard would become the first 50-goal player, scorer in league history. And he did that in 50 games, and there were only 50 games to play. because that's all they had in the season. But he was the first one to ever do that. So unfortunately, though, this trio was together only 3+ years, under 4 years, because of an injury to Elmer Locke in 1946 that kept him out of a good bunch of the games. And Blake retired the following year after that, 47, 48. So they played 3+ seasons together, and legendary line. 77 years later, the punchline is still a famous NHL line, and it's true. Not everybody knows the punchline, but if you're over a certain age, you do. And yeah, the players are well known. So next up, let's get into this before my technical problems kick in. That's what's been happening lately. November 1st, 1959, Jacques Plante is the first NHL goalie to wear a mask in an NHL game. That's what we all know, right? That's what, especially Habs fans, that's what history told us. But is he? Because there's a guy, February 20th, 1930, his name is Clint Benedict, and he wore a mask. So we're going to get into that now. Let's see. So just a quote from Jacques Plante. I think it was after the game where he first wore the mask. I've had 4 broken noses, a broken jaw, 2 broken cheekbones, and almost 200 stitches in my head. I don't care how the mask looks. Now, Blake, the coach, didn't want him to be wearing the mask because he'd been wearing it in practice because Blake thought it affected his vision and that he wouldn't play as well. So he didn't want him to do that, but he got hit in the face with a puck. I don't remember who took the shot, and required stitches, and then he wouldn't come back out to play unless he was allowed to wear his mask. And how's that? Like, just put in the backup goalie. They didn't carry backup goalies back then, so it was just Plante. If he didn't come back out to play, they basically didn't have a goalie, and so Blake said okay, and they came to an agreement where they allowed him to play. I don't know. It was a length of time, either till his face healed for whatever reason, and then he played a few more games without the mask, and quickly went back to playing with the mask, and he refused to play again without it. Now, he was also the inventor of the mask. This is where it cut out last time, so let's hope. He was the inventor of the plexiglass, not plexiglass, fiberglass. That's it. It was fiberglass, and like I said, they were wearing it some goalies were wearing it in practice, but nobody wore it in a game, and then he was the first one. And so look how the mask has evolved. Now, Clint Benedict of the Montreal Maroons, February 20th, 1930, wore a mask after a Howie Morenz shot broke his nose. The mask was leather and was not a practical solution at the time. So remember, that's 1930. This was, what year? 1959. So you're talking almost 20 years later. So the mask was leather. Like I said, not a practical solution. And Benedict stopped using it after only 2 games. But for 2 games in the NHL, somebody did wear a mask. So you might classify it as he was the first NHL goalie to wear a fiberglass or plastic or anything like that kind of mask. So there you go. And a lot of people don't know that. And honestly, I didn't really know that until doing this. I didn't know there was another guy. I kind of thought I did. I must have heard of it before because it was in my mind when I was writing the Jacques Plante stuff. And the last item here is the Clint Benedict stuff. So because I found something to look at and research a little bit. And yeah, I discovered that. Didn't know that before. So if you didn't know that, well, I didn't either. Okay, next up. October 29th, 1969, Jean Beliveau is the first Hab to play 1,000 games. Jean Beliveau became the first ever Montreal Canadien to play 1,000 games, so the first ever Hab. I'm sure other people did it in the NHL. For the team and it was a game against the North Stars. He would retire 2 years later at 39 years old and winning the 1971 Stanley Cup. And he had 22 points in 20 games. And I didn't see, but I think I remember. He definitely led the Habs. And I'm not sure if he led the whole playoffs with points in his final season at 39 years old. Let me see. And he's the longest serving Habs captain up to that point with 10 years. And then Saku Koivu would later tie him in 2009 with 10 years as captain. Next up. Otto Leskinen, so we're done with the history stuff. Otto Leskinen doing well in Finland's Liga. Otto Leskinen, he's playing for Kalpa. He has he has 1 goal, 1 goal, 4 assists, and 5 points in 6 games. And he's playing well defensively as well. He's playing right defense on the team's top pairing as well. So very good for his development. Otto Leskinen. He has a chance to make the NHL. He's got a shot, and he has a chance to play here a little bit in Montreal too. But he's doing well there, so that's good to hear. Cole Caufield will resume play November 13th. So apparently the NCAA, at least the Big Ten division, where he plays for Wisconsin Badgers, Cole Caufield will be playing. They're saying they're starting their season now. I don't know if its first game is November 13th or they're starting camp and get ready for the first game. I couldn't actually find out exactly, but it seemed to be like they're starting their first game November 13th. Let's see what I wrote here about that. If I missed anything. No, all I can say is it's official, but I think the details are to be worked out. That's why I don't know exactly what's going on with that. Next up, Ilya Kovalchuk. In no rush to sign with an NHL team. So people that are still talking about having Ilya Kovalchuk come back to Montreal. So former Hab Ilya Kovalchuk says he's in no rush to sign an NHL contract. Kovy and his agent, Pat Breeson, who we know is a good friend of Marc Bergevin, will try to find the right place and the right fit. From what I could tell, they're kind of talking about maybe mid-season when teams kind of know they need something more. And he's kind of talking about that. The right fit. There's a start. They're also waiting for, there's no start date for next season, so they're in no rush for that. I don't know what I wrote there. And then teams, when teams start to prepare with camp and they know a little bit more what they need, he's kind of hoping he's going to find a fit there or later on in the season, kind of like how he came to Montreal. So he's hoping something could open up for him. And he's hoping it's kind of one last opportunity in the NHL. And he would like to play with a contender. Next up, and the last item, Guy Carbonneau says he really likes Marc Bergevin's off-season moves. So Hall of Famer, because it was last season, Hall of Famer, Guy Carbonneau in a recent interview says he really likes the off-season moves Marc Bergevin has made and says the team will be able to roll 4 lines. He believes they'll be able to roll 4 lines, and that'll be important in a very compressed schedule because it looks like they're going to be having times where they play 3 games in 4 nights and possibly 4 games in 5 nights. They're going to be tired. If you can roll 4 lines and 3 defensive pairings and have 2 goalies that can play, you're way ahead of the game. So that's what he's talking about. So the same with the D, he said, and adding Jake Allen, and it's the same with the goalies, and they're set to grind out a successful season. So he really thinks the offseason moves are really going to be beneficial to this upcoming season because of the a smaller amount of games and the compressed schedule that they're going to have, where they're going to have a lot of back-to-back games, and you're going to have some 3 games in 4 nights, and maybe they're not sure if teams will have to play 4 games in 5 nights at any point. That really means the players are going to be tired. There's going to be injury problems. It's really, really beneficial that the Habs are going to be able to roll 4 lines and all 3 defensive lines and have a little depth all around as well. And having Jake Allen as the backup means Price doesn't have to play every game back to back to back to back. That's not going to be good. So I expect good things for Montreal, and Guy Carbonneau sees the same thing. And that's it. The last thing, I guess, if you're still here, I should remind you, the hashtag Movember is there because I'm taking part in Movember. You can notice I shaved my beard, so it's starting to grow back, and I won't be shaving my mustache at all. And if you want to donate to that, there's a link in the description, and you can click on that. It takes you to their site. I'm part of a team, and I guess our team gets credited for it. And so if you want to do that, that link is in the description. Please help out. It's for men's health awareness, all kinds of things that includes mental health, physical health, all kinds of things. So please help out with that. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any comments, in the comment section down there. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, please do that down there as well. Hit the notification bell. That'll get you your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge right here at Talkin' Habs. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. See you next video. Bye, everybody.